Okay, in Galway, it's cool but not cold. It's not an awful lot here, it's quite a small town, but it's actually quite nice as such. And it's a stopping off spot to go to Connemara and to the Aran Islands. Big canal here. I'm walking across the bridge towards the university. Next to the canal is a river. It's flowing quite fast. See, there's a nice little walkway along the river. Somebody fishing. That building is actually the cathedral. The university's just around the corner. There's a sign up on the boat club. These are the only real boats I see. Marshland. Obviously been a bridge here once upon a time. Quite a quiet, sleepy little place. The houses I've come past, the shops at least, I've come past them. Wow, this is really typical of what they look like. They're very nice, very cute. There's an awful number of pubs in relation to the size of the place. When I looked in at lunchtime, I was going to go have lunch in one, all I saw were men. There were no women. I didn't really feel... Seeing a few more women now, they tend to be attached to men. Or there's a group of them. Young. Seems to be a main street that's a parading. At the sort of points all the way into this gathering place, they've got police handing out plastic glasses. Clearly they're not allowed any glass to drink with. Plastic. The Spanish Arch. They've had a 2-week festival for horse racing. That's why there's more than usual people out. One of 4 arches built in 1584. The other side of the Spanish Arch. There's a funeral and they're just walking behind the hearse. Much nicer than driving behind it. Galway the harbour. I was walking along, that's the Spanish Arch over there. So I was walking last night. The other side of the harbour. I was walking over there last night. Back from Connemara. There were beach places all the way along, and there was a sort of a building standing out in the middle of the ocean that the kids could walk along the pier and dive into the water. It's on the rocks on the foreshore. Ostriches everywhere. And a few of these too.
Hello everyone!
They'll play in. It's pretty much in the centre of town. It's a nice canal walk. Little river indicating that there is fish. And fish there is. This is on the river, which sits on the right of the canal. The canal quite a bit higher than the actual river.
And this place was Portland. So the monks left here, they went into Galway City, and they were in Galway City. They're still in Galway.
Full of, it's like a cemetery. Stone walls everywhere you can see. They crisscross all over the place. It's the friary. It's quite interesting to look into. Just stopping in the little village of Cong for morning tea and toilet break. Very pretty little village. It'd be lovely to have time to spend walking in the nature trail. Nice fishing spot. Big hole in there for them to fish from. Very clean river. Reasonably fast moving. Kong, Old Abbey. The village of Cong is the setting for The Quiet Man. It's an old movie. It's a John Wayne. Looks like John Wayne was pretty young actually. So everything's about The Quiet Man. Very cute little cottages. Probably need an hour. We've got less than that to really wander about it.
What have we here? Fortune. A let you out for a quick photograph in a few moments, so just bear with me for a moment, folks. The largest lake house in acres. There are 365 islands on this lake, one for every day of the year. Nobody lives on those islands today, but they do ferry sheep across to the islands to graze the islands. We will have this lake to our left-hand side all day today. We will not see it till about 5:30 this evening. So we'll have a quick photograph here, quick photograph stop. Shh, shh, shh. We'll have a quick...
This is the largest lake in Ireland. No one lives on the islands, but they graze sheep on it.
待会儿把这个去秀一秀。
Stone walls are everywhere, crisscrossing all over the place.
你先拍拍。
There are many islands on this lake as well, but nobody lives on those islands. And the sheep is known as Joyce.
We're in Connemara.
All of this countryside, from here
I've been
out
for the last
to
little bit
village of
since
Innis,
Kong.
is known as Joyce country. Anybody heard? James Joyce. James Joyce, the writer. And his ancestors would have come from this part of Ireland. This little cottage had a
Famine
thatch roof.
cottage.
There were three different types of thatching. There was rush thatching, which you see growing in Central Gate here, down here to my left. Rush thatching was the most common and the least effective. It lasted up to 2 years. A much better thatch was straw thatching. They had no television in those days. Yeah, we have. Good night to get out and say hello to Joey.
This area is full of lakes. There's a bit of a beach on that one. There's a church inside the abbey. You go with the abbey. This is the grounds by the abbey. You've got to pay to go in, which I didn't want to do. Seeing I have been into castle after castle after castle, the abbey didn't seem to me to be worth it.
Bazar będzie. Jesteście sami.
Just leaving the pier for on our way to Arran Island, to Innis. It's 10:30. Innis more. Pretty much picture postcard.
We've a nice day for the job anyway.
It was all over Ireland in the middle of the last century. Country never came over to these islands, and that's when a lot of people came from various parts that the islanders had here in abundance. But then through massive agree, the tragedy occurred. That they call Dún Óchalog. It's 3 rooms, 2 small bedrooms, 1 each side of a large sort of a common room, and everything other than nocturnal gymnastics was carried out in that sort of a large common room. Most of them as well had only 3 little windows, because a lot of them were built at a time when there was a window tax in force, and that meant that the more windows you had, the more taxes you had to pay. But if you
stones are everywhere.
the loose stone of the land, and they put it into walls around small areas to make, because it was the stalks of the rye. A filmmaker by the name of Robert famous fort they called Dún Éigeasa. Dún Éigeasa is one of the oldest and is one of the finest monuments of its kind in Europe. It's believed to be at least 2,500 years old, but it could be a lot older. Nobody really knows. Now the fort is built on one of the highest points of the island. I can only bring you to the base, and back down from the fort takes about an hour. We usually give people about half an hour.
This is the the big fort. So a 20-minute walk up and a 20-minute walk back, all on stones. Apparently this island is one big limestone island, which the first islanders painstakingly cleared and then made their own soil by mixing sand and seaweed. You just see these fences forever. This is how the fort's been constructed. Very rugged coastline. I'm inside the outer circle. And inside the inner circle, which doesn't look very different. So it has little secret passages. And walk right to this cliff edge. I can't. See how they actually stack the big slabs of stone to make staircases so they could run along the tops. Wow. And there's another set up there. That's entry into the inner circle. Don Adguinness. Something along those lines. This is the raw surface. Pretty rugged.
We're going down. So I want to go right or left.
Well, now it's not raining.
I know. But look at that view.
Pretty much what I expected it to be. Lovely little cottages.
There must be a road or something.
I didn't realise it was so stony.
No, I think I'm going to walk right down there.
And I'll give you a yellow.
Get out of here.
This is the pathway going down. It's not that steep, it's not too bad. Little one. It looks like
It was freezing a little while ago. Yeah, it's amazing how it changes.
bare ground. Wow. The name of the place, Dun Aongasa. Oh, God knows how they pronounce it. Hire bikes as well. I think they're not much different in price actually, but yeah, so there's the bike park. You get up here. There's the horse carts patiently waiting for their passengers to come down from up the walk. Fuchsia. Not pretty. Oh, the bees are liking those.
And the boats couldn't come in.
Guinness stew with mashed potatoes. I think it was beautiful. But it was €12. This is a so-called village, but it's actually just a few shops selling souvenirs. Largely owned sweaters. Painted the chairs outside the shop to match the shop doors. Window frames. So blue chairs, blue door, green chair, green door.
Like that one.
No, don't make noise and all. Somebody said it was dribbling. This world is rough and you have to get before die. From this creature, all there will be peace for me. Churches. You know why monks wear habits instead of trousers? No, would you like to know?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, well I'll tell you. The reason the monks wear the habits instead of the trousers is that they discovered that time. I just go down to the sea. Alright, want to get a photograph?
Yes. Thanks.
I don't know if it's any clearer here, but these stone fences are just everywhere.
Ignore my grave on the shores of America. It's named after Christopher Columbus, who discovered it in his way to America in 1492.
astonishing. Some of the fences are very tidily built and all perfect fit, and others are just higgledy-piggledy any old way. But they still stand up. Just flat rocks everywhere. The wildflowers on the side of the road. They use the stones to get rid of them, but they also use them to contain animals or gardens or whatever. Lobster pots and the beach. Traditional boats apparently.
And they're from down by the water on Stevens from Glenville. Whole ecosystems in here.
It's a traditional boat.
Whole ecosystems.
I guess it's a traditional island car as well.
Naturally occurring orange rock. This is clay pigeon.
Yeah.
Little seals coming up.
Yeah, we want you to photograph our distance, please. There's another one there.
They're having a look at us and thinking, oh no, we're not going to go near there, tourists. There's this whole boat in, you see.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there.
Oh, boat.
They nearly all seem to speak Gaelic here.
That car.
Everyone on the island speaks
Early,
quite early, yeah. So everyone speaks quite good English as well.
Yeah. His father and son.
Oh, right. No, that's good.
Sing about them beneath the glory. She was lovely and fair, like the rose of gold was the truth in her eyes and dawn. I don't know, have you been to Galway City? See that waterway there now? That goes right into the central Galway City, to the docks in Galway. You probably pass the docks in Galway today when you're coming on the bus or whatever you're coming out here. remember I was showing you the ring for? There's a graveyard in here. Where the grass grows wild and wide. That they called the Man of Arm. It was made here in 1930 by a man called Robert Flaherty. And what the Man of Arm is, it's a dramatised portrayal of life on the island at the turn of the century. It took 2 years to make it, and it was made in and around this area here, and many fine documentaries. The most famous of them being Nanook in the north and Moana of the South Seas. On the other side,
Water looks cold. This is the township, this is the main township. That's about all there is, the main township. This is on the bus back, so it's very similar on the mainland in this area as it was on the island. This is Belfast University. Just up the road from the hostel. Gardens. Try and find the museum. This is a wolfhound in the Ulster Museum. His legs are about the same length as mine. His head comes up just up to the top of my shoulder. The bus station, which is okay. It's got a little few shops. It's not as nice, anywhere near as nice as Galway. It's the main street. It's, doesn't excite me at all. It's a nicer end of the main street. I suppose it's alright. That's all it is. The City Hall is actually very nice. This is inside part of the Botanical Gardens, Belfast. I don't know if that's quite the same weed that I've been photographing, but it may not be. I don't imagine they'd have it in the Botanical Gardens. I like all their little spindly plants. The museum is actually in the Botanical Gardens. It's free, which makes it attractive. It seems to have a variety. I went in and just looked at the little bit of the historical bit about the Troubles in here. There's the houses on. It's got a totally different feel to Galway, much more English. Not sure if this is strictly what I'm looking for, but friend on the bus thought that all the murals should go because it's past. But I guess it brings in tourism and it is a part of their history. They are being replaced with advertisements instead anyway. Not sure if this might be the peace wall. You can see the area this is they're actually situated is not very inspiring. It's pretty grim actually. Starting or didn't get finished, and the gap, and a lot closer to this in a minute. Right around this block here. What's behind it? Awful. And then it goes round to pretty much tagging. So they can close off those sectors quite quickly. Whether there's any purpose to them or not. This is Shankill Street off Shankill Road. There's a lot of British flags flying and the Presbyterian churches around here. Running out of time, so I'm just going to scan these quickly. Again, it's a pretty bleak neighbourhood. The lady on the desk warned me not to be out too late. Just on the end of blocks of flats. Here we stand, here we remain. We simply want to take our God-ordained place as Indigenous Ulster people, understanding and living out our calling. We assume our identity without shame, retaliation or indignation against those who have caused harm to our past, tried to castrate our culture, our identity and our place in this land. behind the castle. This is on the beginning of a day tour to the Giant's Causeway and the Carrickapede Rope Bridge. We just stopped in this little place not so far out of Belfast. The house is just out of the Belfast city. It's quite affluent looking, quite large. Fishing village. Somewhere in this area, or actually it's in Belfast, the Titanic was built. I didn't realise that. Carrickfergus Castle. Along the Antrim coast. This village is much more, it looks a lot more like the Southern Ireland places. More like the traditional castle than some that I've seen. King William II, pretty tiny. The doors show you how small they were.
The fire brigades carried out electrical checks on the building. They couldn't find anything wrong with it. You will see many more of them throughout the tour. The session, of course, is the 12th of July, which is to remember the Battle of the Boyne back in 1690. They would then keep on marching right through till the end of August. Red Hand of Ulster. Some people like to call it, it's quite a narrow little tunnel. So could I ask you, could you do me a wee favour? Could you... Now you can breathe out, thanks.
Nice little village. What's it called? Glinglough? Carnlough? Carnlough. There's a pub down the end there that apparently Winston Churchill once owned. White and black one at the end. The old stone prison for the sailors.
We're just about... quickly is we're travelling across some very soft and marshy ground at the moment. You get a lot of the turf and peat. These green and brown things that you can see either side of the coach, they're called trees. And coming up on the right, like forest, you've got 7 miles of beautiful forest to walk around. Lovely view.
Carrickapede Bridge. Wow. About 50%. Lots of these little blue flowers along the way. The water is quite unusual over there. It's quite a long walk from where the car or bus gets in until you get down to this bridge. But that, you don't have to pay for that. So that's quite a nice little walk. I don't think the crossing is anywhere near worth it.
And you'll get some very nice.
This is the walkway down to Giant's Causeway. There's a bus you can catch for £1 there and £1 back. It's only supposedly a 20-minute walk. Oh, they look like they've been put there on purpose in this shape. Amazing. Looking back and an excuse to rest halfway up the hill. These are the pieces that look like organ pipes from the other side. I'm right underneath them now.
I'll do one without the magazine.
Okay.
Oh, they're pretty big. Yeah, this is from a distance, from the organ pipes looking over to the first lot of stones that we came to. Probably the only one you really need to go to actually, which makes it a bit easier. I need the walk though. This bit is actually closed, so I've just gone through to have a little peek, but it's not much different from the rest of it. And I don't actually have time anyway, even if it was open.
Okay.
This is walking back, so I'm seeing it from the other angle. Probably got this taken. There's a bus that comes down, just comes down to the beginning of the rocks.
How far did you walk up?
The oldest whiskey distillery, I think he said, in the world. 1608, that's impressive.
The little river and do some. There, if you look to the left-hand section and the dining room.
Dunluce, what's it? Dunluce Castle. So what's left of Dunluce Castle?